And I made sure that I switched the settings so that way, if I wanted to do video, it's all three of us as opposed to one person at a time.
Oh, is that how it was on our?
Yeah. No, the last time we recorded, I didn't have that. And it was just like, come on, Zoom. What's wrong with you? Jess, whenever you're ready.
Hey, everybody. This is Jess from Hot Takes and Deep Dives, and you are listening to one of my favorite podcasts, MLVC, the Madonna podcast, your place for all things Madonna Louise Veronica Ciccone.
You're just so excited.
It's a lot of words.
It happens.
Syllables.
Hey, everybody. This is Liberty.
Wearing your World Pride tee.
Yes, I am. That I ordered later because I couldn't go.
Well, that came after Pride.
Right.
And hey, everybody, it's Stefan. Welcome to another episode of MLVC. Give a warm Madonna welcome to friend of the podcast, Jess Rothschild.
I'm so excited. I think maybe I've done this show one time, but for the majority, you and Tony have done my show, Hot Takes and Deep Dives. Like, we've done so many episodes together.
Yes.
But I think I've actually only been on here one time in like the very beginning.
Yeah, you were a trailblazer guest. You were, I think you were part of the first season. Mm-hmm. And I don't even remember what we talked about with Madonna.
It must have been something relating to the Madam X tour.
Oh, yeah. Probably. Yeah, that makes sense. I think that's when we started having guests on once that tour was up and running.
Yeah.
And we've been on your show to spill a lot of tea.
But also we've done like debates. Like we did a whole like deep cuts debate where we like battled each other. And then we did the most recent one the three of us did was like Madonna's unreleased songs. And like we all picked our favorites and I like put in little clips.
Yes.
And Tony and I most famously have done the Christopher Ciccone tell-all Life with My Sister Madonna, which ties into sort of a latest project I have. I had to go to the source material of Christopher's book for something that when we get to it, I'm going to tell you what I did as a little sneak preview. And
yes,
I think you'll enjoy it.
We will get to that a little later in the show. Jess's very cool new project, which is Madonna focused. But before we do that, I thought, since this is now August, which we all know is one of our hallowed holidays, Madonna's birthday. Yes, that's right. It is Madonna birthday month, everyone. Our queen is turning 65, which is
my goodness,
unbelievable.
Almost time for Medicaid.
You know what's interesting? Sandra turned 65, I think a year or two ago. And I remember,
for those of you not in the know, that means Sandra Bernhardt.
Yes. Sorry. Sorry. Sandy. Yeah. Sandy turned 65, I think like a year or two ago. And for some reason, I always thought of Sandra as being significantly older than Madonna, but is that not the case?
I guess a year, right?
Yeah. I guess they were like,
oh no, oh my God, this was it. Sandra once shaded Madonna for Madonna did her 60th in Morocco. And Sandra was like, yeah, she got that idea for me because I did my 50th in Morocco, which I loved, obviously.
Well, but so what do we think about Madonna turning 65? I mean, that's quite an achievement. I kind of miss seeing Madonna on Instagram. It's kind of empty days for me, not seeing or hearing updates from her. Yeah. Liberty, what do we think Madonna's doing?
You know, I don't know. It's hard. I feel that she's probably just resting, you know, maybe reflecting a little bit on, as she's about to be 65, what's coming for her. I think she always looks forward, right? Probably less backward, which is one of the reasons that we love her. So I reckon, I'm hoping she's not like having to work or do any of that. Just relax, enjoy, and take advantage of that time.
This unexpected time off.
Right.
I mean, because technically she was supposed to be working. You know, she was going to be touring.
Do we know which city she was supposed to be performing on her birthday on the 16th?
I forget where she was going to be. That's a bad fan of me. I didn't have the itinerary memorized, but yeah, I
I
know
didn't
she
either.
was. I do believe she was meant to be. I mean, she was meant to kick off the tour last month, and she was going to be in full swing. So, yeah, I think she was actually. I feel like she was meant to be in or around New York,
Maybe that was
at
one of
that
the
Yeah, you're
time.
MLVC
right.
shows.
You're right. You're right.
So yeah, so
Yeah.
no Morocco for this girl this year.
No, that's fine. And look, I mean, I could be totally wrong. She might not be resting. She might be doing like witchy stuff around the house, like, smudging it with like some and like, arranging her crystals. I always love those little bits from her Instagram. I'm kind of missing that little like witchy era she was doing. I guess it was like in between Madame X and I don't know,
What's
somewhere in
what's that thing when you do the little, it makes the sound when
like
you
those Tibetan like
yeah,
sound
you do the
bowls.
thing where it's like you
The
put
bowl.
the colander
Yes.
around the bowl and it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
They've done
just
that on the Housewives many times.
I just want that, like I just want
Yeah.
somebody
Just
to
do one
come
of
into
those.
my house.
Yeah, come on,
Yeah.
Madonna. Just a little sneak peek into your world. I hope she's okay because I do miss her on Instagram. It's one of the reasons that I'm not really on Instagram that much right now is because without
Madonna
her,
goes away and you're like,
Have
yeah,
you
and of
guys?
course,
I wanted to ask, have you guys ever been to like a lot of club? I'm sure like Stonewall. You know how like I think like every Sunday night, it may be every Sunday night. There's like a Madonna themed night. Like the DJ there like loves Madonna,
Mhm.
and so like once a week or once a month there'll be like a big Madonna party. Have you guys ever gone to a venue that was specifically doing like a Madonna birthday themed evening?
yes. Oh my
I-
God. I love this is going to show my age. Back in the day on Avenue A,
Tell me.
Pyramid Club.
Mm-hmm.
Pyramid Club used to do their annual Madonnathon. Actually, I believe they did it twice a year. There was one in the winter, and then there was one for her birthday in the summertime. And it was all Madonna music all night long and videos on the screen of all Madonna. And it was like the closest I came to heaven, like
Mhm.
it was just, you'd walk in and it was just constant Madonna music and everyone's wearing, it was like a little Madonna con. Everyone was wearing Madonna t-shirts and you were just dancing to all the hits and it was amazing. And, you'd always fall in love with that cute boy across the room when they were playing the remix of Crazy for You. And, it was just fun. It's just
Yeah.
fun. So yeah, I miss Madonnathon. I do believe there is something happening, a $3 bill in Brooklyn.
Yes.
There's like
They've done that for every year for the past, maybe like with the exception of COVID, they've done that a bunch of times.
Mhm.
They'll be like a big Madonna
as
evening.
they should. I mean, there
But
should
like
be
Andy Cohen goes
there
to
should be
that. It's
Madonna
like a
nights all the
known-
time.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, I'll tell you for certain, they always on the 16th, there's always a big Madonna party up at the Sip and Twirl on Fire Island.
Mm.
And for
Oh.
some reason, I do always wind up being there over the week or like
Magically.
the before or the after, like the week. And like I have a picture of like a bunch of the posters for the Madonna party that they throw. And that's always like really fun.
You don't remember the after. You just remember the before.
Yes.
Not the during either. Mm-mm.
Yes.
No, the music is really good. They do remixes and like the
Ugh,
DJs are always,
but
they're
if you
always
have,
like people who really care.
You have a planner's punch. I'm telling you, those planner's punch. I don't drink anymore, but those planner's punches, you'd have one, and it's sort of like a Long Island iced tea on Fire
Yes.
Island, and planner's punch, and they fit. It's like there's like 6 different liquors, and they finish it off with a top of like 151, and it's like why?
Ooh.
And
It is literal poison.
yeah, it's awful. You could probably light it on fire if you got a cigarette too close to it, and you literally during the first one, it's so tasty. And you think during the first one, oh, a second one sounds like a good idea, but it's a creeper. It's a creeper. Watch out for it. Because only during the second one does the first one catch up to you. And by the second one, you're already inebriated enough to think a third one sounds like a fantastic idea. I've woken up with one too many Planner's Punches hangovers because the third one is never the last one. It's just, it's bad. It's bad. And they're so expensive now. They're like $20. It's
Whoa.
ridiculous.
Girl, we get into all this on the show on the Fire Island podcast.
Yes.
We're gonna talk all
Sorry,
this is
I'm jumping the gun. Another birthday that's happening this month in August is Madonna's 50 #1 remix compilation, Finally Enough Love. turns a precious 1-year-old.
My
Um,
goodness.
amazing that it's been with us for 1 whole year. Amazing that this time last year I was roller skating in Central Park with
Oh
Madonna.
my God, I remember that.
Ah,
That was a
isn't that
magical night.
wild? I can't
Although,
believe
Wow.
how quickly 1 year has passed. That's wild. Because I just think about, because to me it's like, well, I just got that vinyl like a month ago. Nope. I mean, of course, I did order it from her website, so it might have been 6 months
so it
ago.
might have arrived just yesterday.
Right. But
Um,
yeah, I mean, that's gone quickly.
yeah, but I thought I'd take this time before we jump into Jess's brand new project to talk a little bit about reflecting back on Finally Enough Love. What are our favorite remixes off that? Jess, you're our esteemed guest today. What are some of your favorite remixes off of Finally Enough Love?
Okay. I selected 3,
Okay.
but one sort of has an asterisk because there's a different version that I like better. But okay, we're gonna get there.
No, please. That's the
Okay.
benefit of like this opening these discussions is what we
So-
like and what we don't like.
In no particular order, I Don't Search, I Find, the Honey Dijon remix. I love all of my selections and really all of my favorite. I mean, to be honest, the reason I love Madonna's music to begin with is because particularly in the 80s and the 90s, it was so vocal heavy. And I
Mm,
think that's what's really missing from music today. Like even like Vulgar and the other new song that is it called Popular?
popular, yeah.
Okay, so I have an unpopular opinion in that I actually like Popular more. It seems like nobody
Oh.
agrees with me, but I like it more because at least there's like some kind of melody
There's a hook.
involved. Yeah, that's all I just want I want vocals and I want a hook.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And if I'm really
Oh, I
asking
mean,
for it,
I want a song that's longer than 2 minutes.
I want a bridge.
Mm,
I'm sorry. So, okay. I Don't Search, I Find, which is my favorite song off of Madam X. And I love the Honey Dijon remix. And then I picked Secret, the Junior Vasquez
so
Luscious
good.
remix.
So good.
And then, okay. So she has Keep It Together, the alt single remix. But what is the difference? What does that mean, the alt single remix?
It's just there's like it's a very subtle, there's an extra beat to it. It's a little bit more clubby sounding, but
Okay.
it's
So I want to present my actual favorite version of Keep
Okay.
It Together. Keep It Together is one of my all-time favorite Madonna
Same.
songs. The 12-inch remix off the Like a Prayer 30th anniversary, it is the actual version that they're doing in the Blonde Ambition tour. That is the track that
okay.
they recorded and they're dancing to. I like that better than the one, like the original.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's so fabulous. So those are my 3. She should have put that 12-inch remix on the Finally Enough Love.
Yeah, there's a little that's one of my things about Finally Enough Love is I'm not why some of the decisions were chosen over the others. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna go against your I Don't Search, I Find and say I had wished instead of the Honey Dijon remix that it would have been the Offernissim remix because whenever I hear that,
That's
it just makes me want to be at an Israeli rave at 5 a.m. in the morning.
That's good.
I'm gonna have that vision in my head now for a little while, just thinking about you at a rave like that.
That would never happen. I would
Yeah,
actually,
right.
the only way I'm going to be up at 5 a.m. at a rave is if I got up at 4 to go to that rave. I would never be up all night long. Those days have
Long past.
long
Same.
past. And I will say I love that Secret remix too, because I was pledging my fraternity when that remix was being played on 103.5 KTU. And every time I'd walk into the cafeteria area where all the Greek life would sit, a friend of mine in one of the sororities would always be like, Stefan's got a secret. And
My God.
every time I hear that song, that's all I think about.
I love that.
And that remix too. They always played that remix lunchtime. It was like a dance remix hour on KTU and they'd always play that. So Liberty, what about you? What are some of your favorite tracks off of Finally Enough Love?
I can tell you that I'm just sort of basic. The thing is I didn't ever develop a strong remix relationship with Madonna's music. That's just something about
That's right.
me.
I forgot. Liberty does not enjoy the remixes.
Well, they've grown, and I'll tell you why in a moment. But I did okay. So when I obviously the only Madonna remix album I ever had as a kid was "You Can Dance." So
Mhm.
Physical Attraction, the "You Can Dance" version,
So good.
love it.
Mhm.
And I could listen to that, record "You Can Dance" still today and be really, really happy. So that's, I would say, probably the first one that I would choose as like, top, let's say top three, as Jess did. I also like the Vogue single version. I mean, I'm as basic as
Mhm.
they come, it's so good. Um, and then, finally, I could probably jump into the future a bit. And again, I'll be very basic. Um, Medellin, that Offer Nissim. And it's sort of I mean, I love that song. That's the first time where with a Madonna like lead single, Medellin, that I loved the lead single, right?
Right.
Off of her
Liberty
record.
also does not enjoy Madonna lead singles.
Not no.
Really?
I'm a little weird. I guess it's because I always think of,
She has high expectations.
super high expectations. Oh, it's gonna be fabulous, it's gonna be fabulous. And then like,
Okay, so aside from Madame X and Medellin, what is your name another album where you did love the lead single?
Come on.
Like, did you love
um,
Hung Up?
not initially.
Wow.
That's shocking.
I know.
They
Listen,
played Hung Up today. They played a killer remix of Hung Up today in my Batteries boot camp class.
I should. I mean, I think it's because I get very pumped. I'm super excited. And then it's the one too. Like there's always something that's different about the newest song she's gonna break out with that I'm not ready for. Even though I have this weird like theory where that the last song on an album is hinting to you what's to come. I don't know why I have that, but I always think track order matters a lot in Madonna's catalog. Um, I'll give an example. I always when I listen to like on American Life, Easy Ride, right at the end,
Mhm.
um, it doesn't go into Confessions as much, but Gone on Music does sort of make an easy segue into American Life, if that makes
Mhm.
some sense.
Mm.
As does on Ray of Light, Mer Girl, it's got this sort of darkness that music has. So I don't know if I'm in any way,
I got it. I hear
if
what
it's
you're
like
saying.
just in my
Wait,
head, but
so you didn't like Frozen?
I did like Frozen. Okay,
Okay.
let's
There we go.
but
I was
I
gonna say
always
there's gotta be something.
there is a caveat. Obviously, a lead single as a ballad is that sort of like, but Madonna, but I also had so much hype. Like my friends were hyped for that record. People that weren't normally excited for a Madonna record in my world were real excited about that.
But alleviate the haters and say you all love the lead singles now.
Yes, forever now for the future loving of Madonna's records. Literally,
You
anything
feel
she does.
love. Right,
Yes,
exactly.
I promise never to have that mindset again, and maybe a little bit more opening my heart, so to speak. Right?
Ooh, keep those puns coming. I love
I
it.
just am I just on a
I
roll
love
today?
it.
I don't
I've
know.
actually had future lovers stuck on the brain because we spoke with Jason Young, who, I go back and watch
How jealous I could.
whenever we have a dancer on the show, I always go back and rewatch the numbers that they performed in. And I never
Mhm.
realized he was the guy that Madonna rode in the very beginning of Future Lovers.
Yeah.
Like she's on his back and we're holding him. And I was like, God bless him. Like, what an experience to have Madonna ride you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. That's
Oh
a
my
cool
God.
like.
Okay, so I'll pick here's just a couple of my like must-haves on Finally Enough Love. Express Yourself, the version that they have on that is
Mhm.
is probably the most perfect version. It's that little birdie opening,
Yeah.
where she's like, and then you can't get any more 80s than that. Baby. Like that is
I love it.
so perfect
Yes.
80s. It's heaven. Like I even think that that's more iconic than like a prayer and fight me. But I'm that's like so 80s and like not even like quintessential 80s. It's just like endearing 80s, like that like lives on. Like it sounds so fresh even today. That Orbit edit remix of Justify My Love, come on baby, you can. And the prudes at Warner Brothers, they slice out You Can Fuck With Me, but you get, if you have that Justify My Love, the remix album has that, the full blown, it's not edited out. So I love that. I mean, come on, Nothing Really Matters, Club 69 remix, heaven. I also love that Calderon remix of Beautiful Stranger. Like, again, that put me on a dance floor late at night. That's, I've definitely danced to that on Fire Island. I know that for sure. The Above and Beyond Club remix of What It Feels Like for a Girl.
Yeah, that's, see, that was really
good. The Calderon and Quayle remix of Hollywood. That mix is fire. I don't know if I ever heard that before Finally Enough Love, but like that has changed. I put that immediately on a playlist because I was like, if I need a Madonna motivation song, Hollywood. And I never thought that Hollywood would be a Madonna motivation
that's
song.
interesting. Yeah.
But like that, I love Everybody Comes. It's so good. I mean, that Love Profusion remix. Come on.
Okay, now you're just going down the track list.
I know.
You're right.
But okay, however, but I will say this. The one thing, and I will always say this, I still wish for someone to do an amazing remix of Get Together. That song deserves better. And I don't think I was happy with any of the remixes that came out for that. So
yeah, it happens.
Yeah. So anyway.
Mostly to me, but not usually to you, but to me.
Anyway, thanks for walking down a little bit of memory lane with Finally Enough Love. I always love to revisit that album, and especially when you're like stuck on a treadmill doing some cardio, trying to get beach ready, Yeah. And that's my not too faint. Speaking of beaches, so we brought Jess on this. We brought Jess on the show because Jess has a brand new project. It involves a bit of Madonna. She has a podcast series called Finding Fire Island. Jess, you've got some actually really big names attached to this.
Did you have a chance to listen to any of it? I know you listen. No, I know you listened to the one that is out today for the listeners to all hear. Did you listen to any of the other episodes? Good. Okay, good. So we can really talk about it.
Yeah,
okay.
I've gotten through, I think, the first two, and then this one.
Okay. Awesome.
I was on vacation, so I was a little behind.
I'll forgive you.
Thank you. But just tell us about your project. Tell us about Finding Fire Island.
Yeah. Okay. So your listeners, I actually have like a great relationship with the MLVC listeners. There's a ton of crossover between the MLVC listeners and the Hot Takes and Deep Dives listeners, which like we started our series like around the same time. And so because we've collaborated a bunch, a lot of them are the same people.
Well, you've also had some amazing Madonna guests that won't come on our show.
I forgot. Yeah, that's true.
You've had like Sandra Bernhard. You've had Rosie O'Donnell. You've had I'm like, God damn it. In fact, every time you have people on Hot Takes Deep Dives that have like huge Madonna stories, people are always messaging me like, why isn't she on your show? And I'm like, good question.
Well, actually, in a way, yes, Sandra did give the most Madonna tea because she like actually talked about the Letterman appearance. Like we went like really deep about it. But Isaac Mizrahi took it a step further and was like, no, he confirmed that Ingrid Caceres was fucking Madonna and that she broke.
Allegedly.
Sure, allegedly, but like he was there and he confirmed it. So anyway, everybody knows me from that series. And in a lot of those interviews, I would, because I'm a native New Yorker and I've been going to Fire Island for years, like all of my 20s, all of my 30s, and now I'm 40. I mean, Liberty, like just to give you, I mean, the listeners know, but I'll explain like really quickly. Fire Island is it's it's the Cherry Grove and the Fire Island Pines are the two gay villages, hamlets within Fire Island, and they're
Okay.
the oldest LGBT communities in the United States.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
And
that
yeah,
helps
and Fire
understand.
Island is basically a barrier island off the coast of Long Island, protecting Long Island in case there's a hurricane, you know?
Okay.
Basically, yeah.
So if there was a hurricane, poor Fire Island would go and Long Island would be saved.
Oh
So,
my God.
but yeah, it's
Yeah.
this cute little, I mean, it's what, like a mile wide
Yeah.
from
100.
side. You can literally walk from one side to the other, from the bay
Mhm.
side to the beach side within like 5 minutes, if not
Yeah.
less. And
It's-
there's cute
yeah.
little homes all over the place. And I mean, I did summer shares there for many years, and it is a gay mecca. It's basically Sodom and Gomorrah. You know, it's
Yeah.
like anything that you hear about hedonistic behavior, it happens in Fire Island. So
And everyone
Okay.
does, like, the thing that's unique about it is a lot of people, like Stefan did, like, you go in like a share house. So it's very much like camp. Like the first episode is called Gay Summer Camp because
yes.
that is the metaphor that so many people in doing the series, they would lean on. And, you know, when I'm asking them to like describe it or tell their origin stories, they're like, yeah, like you sort of like get off in this like mystical land. And it's like, where am I staying? And they're all like these like weird names for houses, and the streets have ridiculous names or like
Hmm.
funny names like Tuna Walk, like just like silly names. And people like split up the housing. Like there's always a house mother who tends to do all the cooking and like takes
Oh
everybody's
my
money.
God, it's
The guy who handles the
ridiculous.
rent, or the person, guy or girl who handles renting the house and like is
Hmm.
organizing everything. And then
Right, and
people are always,
there's no cars on Fire Island. It's walking
yeah.
only. I mean, some people
Mhm.
have like little scooters to get around, or you can have
But there aren't
bikes.
even
And
there. Can you have bikes?
I've seen people bike on Fire Island.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I don't know that
I
I
don't know
have.
why you would, because it's like the boardwalks are not convenient for
That's
biking.
crazy.
But yeah,
Mhm.
it's basically like it's all just boardwalks. It's like Swiss Family Robinson, you know,
Yeah.
where you're just sort of like on this island. And the thing I always loved about Fire Island was you were my cell phone never worked there, so I was always telling my office, I'd be like, going to Fire Island this weekend, you can't catch me, so I'm out of commission. And so it's like it's amazing that you're like 20 minutes off the coast of Long Island, basically an hour and a half away from Manhattan, and yet you feel like you're in another world.
Wow.
Because it's all Liberty. It's also a place where there's only one grocery store in each of the communities. And in Cherry
Okay.
Grove, there's one grocery store. In the Pines, there's the Pines Pantry. Did you see the movie Fire Island?
I did.
No,
No.
I know you did.
Oh,
I'm asking Liberty.
yes.
To like get the idea.
No, but I should.
You totally should. Stefan, did you like the Fire Island movie?
It was okay. I mean, look, they went for a certain aesthetic and this,
Yeah.
you know, like I was never friends with those pretty boys. So, you know, that it was a very different experience that
Yeah.
I think I had. I did see, didn't you mention in your series? Oh, wait, so let's back up for just a second. So Jess has done a series called Finding Fire Island. How many episodes is in this series, Jess?
It's 8 episodes, and I think we're going to do a bonus episode. So
Okay.
it's a docu-series. So it's like
Okay.
an audio documentary, and it's a mix of like comedians, like people, you know, like Joel Kim Booster, who wrote and starred in the Fire Island movie, comedian and actor Matt Rogers, who like everyone knows who these people are, Margaret Cho, who else? Brian Moylan, who's like he wrote the book on the Housewives, and he's a hilarious recapper over at Vulture. He used to write for Gawker, has covered a lot of like gay nightlife in New York City and on
Mhm.
Fire Island. And then I also was able to interview a lot of like the old timers, the people who've been there like from the 50s and the
Yeah.
60s and the 70s. Like I have this one guy who's like maybe my favorite. Rose is his drag name. His name is Bob Levine. He's like this Jewish guy from the Bronx, like could be my dad. Like I even told him, I'm like, you really remind me of my dad, like in some, I think just like that old New York, Jewish New Yorker thing. And he arrived on Fire Island in 1955 and like wanted to get into the theater productions there because they started like a theater company there. And he's been there ever since, and he still performs. I saw him perform over July 4th, like in drag. Like he's 90 now.
Wow.
And he's actually performing again at the end of the summer.
Oh, that's
on like
fantastic.
August like 28th or something. Patti LuPone, by the way, is performing late August.
So Fire Island gets
at the Ice Palace.
Fire Island gets some fantastic talent out there.
Liza has performed there.
I mean, I Linda Carter was out there. I saw Cheyenne Jackson. Oh my God. So Cheyenne Jackson just posted a thirst trap photo on his Instagram the other day. And I gotta say, one, yes, thank you. Two, I ran into him in the Pines Pantry. I was shirtless because you can go shirtless grocery shopping on Fire Island. Like that's the brilliance of Fire Island.
Everyone is pulling dollars out of like Speedos.
Then people just walk around and like barely there.
There's a New York Times article about the Pines Pantry, and the manager in that article, the manager was quoted as saying she could write a book about the things they've seen and heard there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kidding you. Like I love getting sandwiches from the Pines Pantry, and literally people are just in a thong.
Actual sandwiches, right?
Yes.
It's not a metaphor. Okay. Just checking. Just checking.
Yeah.
Pines bombshell. That's my my religion. I love that sandwich.
Yeah.
But yeah, and they're chocolate chip cookies. Anyway, so I digress. But yeah, I saw Cheyenne Jackson in the Pines Pantry, and that motivated me to go see him at the community center that night because he was performing. It was so fun. I was like, oh my God, what a novel idea.
Wait, tell me who else you've seen on Fire Island? Like what other like live performers?
I think Cheyenne Jackson was the only person I've seen obviously tons of drag shows out there.
Any favorites?
Shaquita's great. As well as Head of Lettuce. Oh my God. Head of Lettuce, forget it.
The best.
Like I will be crying from laughing so hard. My stomach will be hurting. Like she is fantastic.
I interview actually, wait. Oh my God, this also ties back to Madonna. You know Pixie Aventura, who performed on Madonna handpicked Bob the Drag Queen and Pixie Aventura to be part of the Pride 2022.
Oh, yes.
Pixie Aventura is a local New York City and Fire Island queen, and I interview Pixie in Finding Fire Island.
Oh, fun. Cool. Did you talk about Madonna?
No.
Oh. Come on, Jess.
It didn't come. It was like relevant to like other stuff.
Tell her that we would love to have her on the show. So.
Oh, she would do it in a second.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, just DM her. It's happening. It's done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, but performers on Fire Island, you do talk about Madonna in Finding Fire Island.
Yes. Oh, yes. Okay. So, let me like zoom out for a second. So, you know how I did the Life with My Sister Madonna, the Christopher Ciccone tell-all with Tony from MLVC.
Yeah.
So let's start here. What are each of your feelings on that book? Here are the two categories. Do you just throw it away and be like, he took advantage of her, or do you look at it as like, this is the juiciest fucking tell-all I have ever heard in my life? Like, give me more. Because that is the category I fall into.
Yeah, I would have to say I'll fall close to that second category. I had to get it when it came out. I lived in Germany, I think, at the time. So it was a little harder for me to get it, but I had to because I thought, well, for sure, if she's unhappy about it, that means it's going to be worth reading. Even though I maybe typically don't want to admit something like that, but I read all Madonna biography or adjacent sort of things.
And also, by the way, why are all of her biographies or all of the books that have been written about her, whether it be Christopher's book or otherwise, they're all incredibly misogynist? Like, I feel like a woman needs to, that's why I wish she would just like write her memoir. Like, write your memoir. Instead of like the movie idea, just do the memoir, because I feel like that story deserves to be told through a female voice, and why not just make that Madonna? But anyway,
and authentic, not some sort of selling something to sell, so to speak. Right. I want truth, because to me, the thing that's interesting about Madonna is Madonna. It's not really, I mean, I love the story and I like the sort of fantastical idea. She arrives out of nowhere, Michigan with 30 something dollars in her pocket and asks to be dropped off in Times Square. That's a really cool story for like me at 16 in a no name Texas town, thinking like, I gotta get out of here.
Right.
But if that's not the accurate story, I'd love to know that too. I would love to know from like the truth of
Right.
everything.
Right.
Even if
And
it's not as
salacious.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in Christopher's book, which I am obsessed with, like for some reason I love the Andy Warhol diaries. I love the Andy Cohen diaries. Like I love sort of tell-alls like in this way and that are kind of in diary format. And I feel like Christopher's book, in a way, it feels very diary format. Yeah. So there is an entry in his book where he goes to Fire Island. He goes with his longtime boyfriend, Danny, at the time, who he was with for like over a decade. And they rent a house on Shore Walk, and he invites, this is in the summer, this is August 1989, and he invites Madonna and Warren Beatty to come out to Fire Island for the day. And he like writes the story of like what happened. And so in this one episode of my series, the title is Legends and Lore. It's out now for people listening. It's stories of like the guy who booked Liza Minnelli, and like he helped. It's like
such a great story.
Sort of like secure that booking. Like he produced this concert between Liza and Alan Cumming, and their story. I spoke to the woman whose home is where they filmed A Normal Heart, the movie, the Ryan Murphy movie with Julia Roberts. And so it's also, what were you saying?
Sorry, I have a brief story about, I was part of A Normal Heart because that weekend that they were doing exterior shots of Fire Island. And I think it was 4th of July weekend. And I think it was one of the last weekends that I drank ever. And I was so hungover the next day. It was July 5th. And I was like, Fire Island 4th of July weekend is insanity. It's insanity. And I was like, I went to town to get Gatorade and like egg and cheese sandwich to like recoup from my hangover. And there were so many people and it was so hot that I was like, I can't stay here. I have to go home. I need to be in my own apartment in air conditioning. So I turned around, I went back to the house. I told everybody, I was like, guys, I'm leaving. I'm catching the next ferry. They're like, what? Why? And I just left. I was like, I got to get out of here. I'm on the ferry. And I was like, oh, thank God. I'm just going to sit and enjoy this ferry ride back to the Long Island Railroad. And that's when I hear, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, during this ferry ride, you're going to see a helicopter flying overhead. Please don't look at the helicopter. We're filming exteriors for The Normal Heart on HBO. And I was like, what? And so literally the entire 20 minutes, there was a helicopter hovering like 20 feet above my head.
Jeez.
And let me tell you, that is not the sound you want when you're hungover.
That
I was like, oh,
is hilarious.
My God. And then of course I was stupid and I didn't even check the train schedule, and the ferry dumps us off, and it was 2 hours until the next train back to the city. So I sat and baked at the fucking Long Island Railroad train station. And I was like, I am in hell.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds awful.
So when I saw The Normal Heart, and I was like, literally they used like 10 seconds of a helicopter shot of the ferry going to Fire Island. And I was like, I had to endure. It just threw me back to that hangover. And I was like, jeez. I can't believe it. Anyway.
I'm obsessed with that
stock footage, I'm sure.
Continue, Jess.
I'm obsessed with that story. So anyway, of course, some of these stories, I just have the source material. So like there's like Andy Warhol like writes about it in the Andy Warhol diaries, and Andy Cohen writes about it. He would later publish his diaries. He's now on like his 3rd freaking diary, which are, oh, by the way, all amazing. Like I love his diaries, I have to say. And he spent like he rents a week there every summer, and Sarah Jessica Parker comes to visit him. And so with these 3 entries, it's like the Christopher, there's the Madonna entry, and like the Andy Cohen, Sarah Jessica Parker. I kind of do like a spirited reading, like my interpretation. Okay. And I guess, Stefan, since you're actually the only person right now who's heard it aside from the sound editor, I am curious what you thought of my perform. I am not an actor by any means.
You did great.
I
Liberty,
wanna
you
know-
listened to it too, right?
Oh, you did listen to it. Oh, okay.
Yes.
I am curious, did my goal with the Christopher story was that it really got across what a prick he is.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's delivered. Like, he's really just like, it ends with like, we walked back to the house. He's like, my status on Fire Island soared. Like, everyone knows that we just had
Yeah.
Madonna and Warren Beatty to lunch. Like, that's how it ends.
Yeah, that's
mean,
the reason.
Can you blame him though? Like that.
No.
All I thought of was that would be total insanity. No, being out on Fire Island and then hearing that Madonna was out there. Like I
Gotta be
would
crazy.
literally just be running from house to house.
Especially in 1989, at like
Oh my
literally the
God.
peak of her fame.
Yeah, like insanity to think that she was out there and didn't perform. Like I would have loved that. Like to hear like Madonna performed at like Pine's party or
Oh my God. Can you imagine? No, it would have been like the morning party.
something, right?
It would have been the morning part. Yeah. Did you ever go to like the Pines party or the morning party?
No. So Pine's party is one of the parties that they have on the island that runs all night long. And so it's like it goes from like 9 p.m. until
sunrise.
Sunrise.
We have stories of that. The episode that came out, we have an episode that's out right now where it's a lot of people. That's where the ass eating story comes from. It's Joel Kim Booster and Matt Rogers. I asked them each of their like most wild experiences,
Oh
and
my
Joel Kim Booster
God.
talks about a 200-person orgy.
And of
And
course,
his Pines party.
Daily Mail picks up the lead story is like, I got sick from eating ass on Fire Island.
Matt Rogers, I felt bad. I did feel bad because like I know Matt Rogers a little bit. Like I've interviewed him like 3 times, and like he said yes right away. It's like it was an easy. I didn't have to go through his people. I was like, would you do me this favor, whatever? And I don't know that Matt Rogers' mom needs to like get that Google alert. Like I felt bad. Like maybe let's like not use his name. Like I don't know.
I thought it was fun, but I saw the press on your page. I was like, what is she doing on the show?
Oh my God.
I was like, oh dear God.
Oh wait, you love Lena, right? DJ Lena.
Oh, so
So-
we've had Lena on the show back over, I think it was during COVID, we had Lena on the show because obviously Lena loves Madonna music and she plays great Madonna music during her sets out on Fire Island. And yeah, oh my God, let me tell you. So Lena used to spin for 10 years. Lena had a DJ residency out on Fire Island. She was like the place to be on like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You go to low tea, which is basically like happy hour, and you meet up with everybody and you get those planners punches. And then after you've had a couple planners punches, you go upstairs to Lena's deck and you sip some more drinks and dance to her fantastic music. And I mean, the story, I think I heard her on one of the trailers for one of your episodes where she talks about like the deck almost caved in.
Yeah.
Every time we'd be dancing on Lena's deck, DECK, people, get your mind out of the gutters. That the wood would be bouncing to the point where I was like, this is gonna fall down. Like and I'd always make
fell
sure
down twice. She tells the whole story how it broke. They had to rebuild it twice.
Oh my God. We'd always be like sitting on the edge. And I was like, do you think we could grab this tree branch if the deck falls out from underneath us? Like, because literally you could feel it vibrating. And I just remember when Sip and Twirl had that fire and the whole building burned down, the only thing that was left standing was the deck.
Oh my gosh.
Everything burned down except for the deck. And I was like, well, I guess we didn't have to worry too much. But of course, now they've rebuilt it and like that is like some steel reinforcements they have. Like that thing's not going anywhere. But yeah, Lena was epic Fire Island.
Yeah. Yeah. Like we really, I was so, oh my God, I went to her apartment. Oh wait, didn't I send you like the video?
No, of her Barbie dolls.
No. Or did I send that to Tony? I could have sworn I sent it to you. No, like a video of like, because like I went to her home and like on the
I love that
outside.
you're videotaping it.
No, it was just on the outside. It's like apartment like 1C. It's like Lena Bradford. It was just that I could have sworn who the fuck did I send that to if not to you? Oh my God. And then maybe it must have been
I
Tony.
thought you were like videoing inside her
No,
apartment. I'm like, does she know about this?
No. It's like just the outside label. Of course I saw the whole Barbie collection. I saw
Oh my
it all.
God. I love it.
Oh,
I love her.
wow.
But that's the story. So check out Finding Fire Island. I think it's everything you want it to be and more. I mean, tell me like what.
Well, so
like,
Jess,
yeah.
so for everyone listening, go check out Jess's podcast, Finding Fire Island. It is, Jess, you do a fantastic job at producing
Thank you.
episodes.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Thank
I mean, like
you.
the flow of the story is great. How you weave in all of the different voices from the different people telling their perspectives, and it's enjoyable to hear. It throws me back to my days when I would spend summers on Fire Island. I desperately miss going. I try to go like once a summer, and I don't think it's going to happen this year, but maybe, who knows? Never say never.
If
right?
you wind up going, like, let's coordinate if that winds up happening.
Yeah. And I used to love when it's like sometimes my friend Colin and I would go out thinking we're going to day trip, and then suddenly we're there for the whole weekend, and we're like, how did we manage this? How, like you just find friends, and I mean, God bless. We stayed at 11 Ocean, which was a block from a block. It's like a 30-second walk from the beach. And one too many times we would wake up and there'd be somebody passed out on our front porch, just sleeping there. And I'm like, have they been there all night? Oh, but that was one of the brilliant things that we loved about Pines Party. I never went to Pines Party because just circuit parties was not my scene. And I was like, I'm not going to do drugs and spend all day all night on the beach. However, the fun thing is to get up early
and see everybody's faces.
Everyone
so
leaving.
Joel Kim Booster talks about this.
God.
He said Joel Kim Booster talks about, well, obviously he did the whole Pines Party, but then he's like, it's when the sun rises and you see the wear and tear on people's faces. He's like, he goes, it's amazing. He goes, but it's also really scary.
Yeah, it's frightening. It's frightening.
You got to listen to it. It's the episode 4. It's called Tea. That's with the ass eating story.
Okay.
It's all of, and even by the way, Margaret Cho like has sex stories in there too. Like it's out. It's nuts.
Yeah. That was always a fun activity of mine. If we got a weekend for the Pines Party, I would get up, have coffee, and be sitting on the top patio of the house and just watching the train wrecks walk by. I was like, ooh, they look rough. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It was a good time though. But yeah, check out her show. It's streaming wherever you listen to podcasts, right?
Wherever you listen to podcasts. Yeah.
It's a little Madonna. It's very gay, and thank goodness.
It's very gay.
Yeah.
The Madonna story is in episode 6, Legends and Lore, which would just came out the day this episode is out. You can run over and listen to it. To my reading. Your
dramatic reading of Christopher Cicconi's tell-all about Madonna.
Yeah, and I think that I'll just touch on a little bit of what Stefan said a second ago about the production element. I think it reminds me a lot of these sort of NPR storytelling, the production part. I really love that. And what that speaks to me for is adding to a historical or spoken audio record about LGBT history. Specifically, I'm fascinated by stories where I'm not sure where he wrote that, but he might have written it in this room, but there was no piano there. So
yes.
I mean, these are those like really cool stories that have to live on. They have to, people in 20 or 30 years need to hear, those stories that may sort of get lost in the fold, because these are the little like human details that I love so much. So it's really spectacular. I loved it. Well done.
I thank you so much. I had no idea that you would listen. I'm so glad that you heard it. Yeah, the story Liberty is referring to is Truman Capote writing Breakfast at Tiffany's, which he did on Fire Island. And then we get the story of how Hello Dolly was written by Jerry Herman, how like there's like differing tales. And then I was actually able to confirm where it is on Fire Island. Just some people thought at the Ice Palace, but it was actually at a house in the Pines.
Yeah, so awesome.
Yeah, that episode is full of like all those like rumors and lore and like all that fun stuff.
Look, Fire Island, it's a magical place. And I think, Jess, you've done a fantastic job at sort of bringing that magic to a wider audience.
Yeah.
And good job. Congrats.
Oh, this makes me so happy. Thank you guys so much.
Well, Jess, I know you're a busy lady and you've got other important press engagements. Tell everyone where they can find you on social.
Yeah, definitely find me on Instagram, JessXNYC. That's the best place to follow me. DM me for sure. I love to chat more. Like, people are like, are you there this weekend? I'm like, but no, definitely message me, say hi. Like, I'm down to chat about anything.
Cool.
Awesome.
And remember, everybody, you can find us on Instagram and Threads at MLVC Podcast. If you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss a video. You can donate to the show. We're on Venmo at MLVC Podcast, or think about becoming a subscriber on Patreon, patreon.podbean.com/MLVC Podcast. Jess, thanks so much for joining us.
This was a
Thank you.
blast.
I
This
love
was a
having
blast.
you on the show. I'm sorry that it's been so long since we've had you back.
I mean, I'm disgusted.
You've
No,
been
we
busy.
just have to wait for the right thing, the right moment. And this is a very good one.
So make sure you check out our show, Finding Fire Island. It's playing wherever you find your podcasts. Also, Hot Takes and Deep Dives. Is that coming back, Jess?
Yeah. The full interview that I did with Lena Bradford, I released the full thing. And then like the Fire Island section is in the Fire Island. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
Cool. Well, check both of her shows out. They're always great. Thanks for coming on the show, Jess.
This was the best. Thank you.
And Liberty,
Thank you
always
for being here.
always a pleasure chatting with you, Liberty.
Always, darling.
I love it. I
yes.
love it. It's like ladies with an attitude today.
It is very ladies with an attitude.
All right, everybody. Until next time.
Bye.